This is the pile of stuff that I took off the E-Flight Corsair. This is kind of like the, I disemboweled it, and here it is. It's all in pieces right now, so we've got a few really key pieces here. Like this is something that is still good and can be used on something else, and that is this is the motor. And then this was the speed controller, which came off of it, which was still fully functional as well. So that's a couple of really good parts. And you start getting down into the little things like these servos. These little mighty servos are pretty cool. They're very strong and they're super small. So yeah, I think that there could be a use for these. And that's kind of why I picked out all the stuff in here that I thought could be used. I mean, some of this maybe less than others. I mean, there's some control horns here. You can always use control horns on parts, especially when you're building from plans. You know, you've got to come up with this stuff from somewhere. So if you've got old ones somewhere that would work just fine, that'll be perfect. Here's a perfectly good extension. And what else was, oh, this was kind of fun. There was one of these Y harnesses in here. Here's the pilot. He saw some scary stuff toward the end, but you know, he could fit into something else that I put together that's of this scale. Let's see here. Here's the nose cone that went on there. Fits nicely onto the motor. So maybe I ought to put those two together so I don't get them separated because they kind of travel together. So we'll stick that with that. These are the push rods, and you know, push rods. Okay, this one here was on the tail wheel. I don't know if I'll ever have a use for a tail wheel quite that small, but push rods, they're kind of cool to have because these are, you know, of a certain length. They're pretty stout. This looks like it is wrapped and maybe like covered in some kind of a lacquer. The length of this steel rod. It's got a Z-band on one end. I mean, this could be used for a throttle or something like that on one of my bigger planes. Let's see what else is in here. Got some clevises. I always need clevises. Some miscellaneous screws back here. And these are kind of fun. This was the magnets that were holding the canopy on while it was in flight. So there's a set of those in there. They could be popped out with a screwdriver. And those are rare earth magnets. Those are handy. We use those a lot in modeling now. Clevises that are on the ends of these push rods are handy. I think I maybe already talked about the clevises. This is the only part that I don't know if I've got a use for, but I mean, it's got like, here's a perfectly good collar on here, and that could be used in the future. I don't know if I'll need this piano wire with the wheel on there. Right now I'm kind of favoring these over the junky retracts that came on the new one. But anyways, just wanted to show you, this is kind of like how the hoarding in this hobby starts. You start by saving some of these old parts rather than throwing the whole thing in the trash and letting it go away. But you never know when some of these are, what I'll be doing at this point is I'll be taking these and I'll be putting these with my servo collection. I'll be taking these push rods and putting them where I keep all my push rods. I've got drawers in my little file cabinet over here that I've got lots of these different control horns and things like that. So they'll go to there. Rare magnets will go in the rare magnet drawer. Most of these, like the extensions and stuff like that, will go in my famous box of extensions. And I'll put this with the electric parts. So yeah, we'll sort it all out, and you know, somewhere down the road, this the loss of this airplane could be the benefit of something else. So it's a good idea sometimes to be a little bit of a hoarder in this hobby. Here's a good example. Hey, welcome back to the shop. It's really good to see you here again. I tell you what, I think I've lost my freaking mind. Yeah. See all this stuff on the table here? It's like I don't have enough airplanes to build, that I am ordering more stuff. And so this is just part of what's coming up. and what is coming in. And I sat down the other night to actually kind of figure it out. I got out a notebook and I started writing down every plane that I have back in my storage area back here and over here. Projects that are coming up. Some of them need to be built. Some of them need to be just kind of refurbished. Some of them need to be tuned up. And some of them need to be created from absolute materials. So after doing this book, it's kind of overwhelming, but it looks like I have got 17 projects that are in the pipeline right now. And so these are just pieces of a few new ones that just came in over the last week. I've got 2 sets of plans here. You remember how I feel about plans, huh? I love plans, such potential. Anyways, the 2 plans that we have coming in, these are a couple of Dick Sarpolus designer kits, not kits, plans. And those are going to be what Mark and I are going to be starting to work toward. We've got that de Havilland Beaver that's coming up here, and we're actually going to start working on that this week. So that's good. But anyways, these 2 sets of plans, there's just a nice simpleness. This is one of the guides here, one of the kits, or excuse me, one of the plans. This is a Sarpolus Hurricane. Now, you guys in Britain, you call it a hurricane. Yeah, I know. I did my homework. I watched the whole documentary about the hurricane, and I didn't know what the heck they were talking about for like the first 20 minutes of it. Hurricane. Oh, hurricane. Hurricane. That's what it is. So it's a Dick Sarpolus Hurricane, which has got a 96-inch wing. We like these because they're a sport kit. It's not, it looks like a Hurricane. It's shaped like one. When you stand back at a distance, you realize, hey, that's a Hurricane. You know, it's not a scale airplane by any means, but it's one of those kind that looks enough like one. It's just fun to fly and own, and it's a big plane, so you know we were taking advantage of that. And so anyways, the fun part about it is everything's cut from foam with it. So it's got foam wings, and so we've ordered foam. It's on the way right now. And so when it comes time to put this one together, that's going to be really cool because we'll be getting, Mark's got a foam cutter, and we will show you how we cut the foam cores out of 4-inch blocks of foam. It's going to be great. So that's one of them. The second one, also a Dick Sarpolus plan, is the MiG-3. Now this was featured in Model Aviation magazine back in, well, you know what? I think it had it in here. It was like the early 2000s, I think. I don't have it on here. I will find, oh, here it is. November of 2004. Model Aviation, that's the magazine that comes from the AMA, American Model of Academy of Model Aeronautics. That's what the AMA is for, not the American Medical Association. Not the same thing. Anyways, this is the set of instructions that went with it from the magazine article, and one of these sets of plans is from that. And so that's going to be another one. Very similar. It's a great looking sport scale airplane. When it flies through the air, it looks really cool. I got to fly Mark's. He's got one of these already built. And after flying his, I decided I want to get one too. So the nice thing, once again, it is not scale. It's using a set of, it's using like a P-51 airfoil in it. And I think that's the same thing on the Hurricane too, is the same exact thing. Same airfoil. And so anyways, we got foam coming for that one too. And foam wing and fuselage and plywood body on it. So we'll be putting those together. That's going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, once again, some of the scale details, these do not have retractable landing gear on them. Both of them have, you know, hardwired in there. You know, it's just one of the give and takes. But the cool thing is you come away with a pretty cool looking airplane, and they fly really nice. This particular airfoil, he got it dialed in. So it's going to be great. So that came. The box underneath here is part of the Hurricane parts. Now, when we do a lot of these plans, sometimes you can find a kit cutter that will make the parts that are kind of a pain in the butt to cut out. So that'd be like if it had a tapered wing on it. These got foam wings, so not a big deal. But it should have the templates. You need a template for each end of the wing when you make a double tapered wing. But anyways, in this box here are the other parts for the fuselage. So it's got the big rounded bulkheads, all that kind of stuff, the firewall, all those pieces, and they were laser cut. And that's great. Laser cutting is fabulous. It's not like what they used to call die crunching, which was they would have a metal set of, it'd be like a cookie cutter, and they would just take it and stamp it into the plywood or to the light ply or balsa, whatever the particular wood is that's doing it. And they called it die crunching because you're actually forcing that down onto it. The problem is after so many kits have been made, they start to get dull, and those crunches start to have bigger kerfs in them. But a laser cut kit is beautiful because the laser is consistent no matter if it's the first or 10,000th kit. It's going to make an absolute perfect line. And so anyways, that's the nice part about being able to find another kit cutter that'll make you the kits. These came from a company named Eureka Models. And so we waited. It took a little bit of while. They're very busy, but we got them. So those are the bulkheads in here. That's another way that you can get around, like if you don't want to cut every single template out on the parts, it's a way to get around it. And so we've ordered parts for that. Then, wow, that was kind of weird. Then, just out of pure left field, I've noticed that there is a shortage of SIG kits right now. And one that's always been kind of near and dear to me has been the Space Walker. Now, I've got the other one over there. I've got the Space Walker 2, but I've always wanted the original 1/3 scale Space Walker, which is a big honking airplane. And so I put out feelers out there asking if anybody had one of these kits on their shelf, and they decided they weren't going to buy it because you can't order from SIG right now. They're back ordered on everything that is kit-wise. Anyways, I think I saw a communique that the guy is trying to get the something special, and I can't remember what the other plane was, but neither of them was the Space Walker, which is really what I wanted to have. It's got kind of a special meaning to me, the Space Walker, and what it is when I first got into this hobby, there was a guy that brought one of these out to the field. When I was starting off, I had my little PT-40 with the glow engine on it and stuff like that, and he comes out, and this was a well-established builder. He built a lot of planes. He really enjoyed doing what he did. And he got this one out of his car, and this was the biggest plane I'd ever seen at that point. And back then, giant scale planes were not very common. They didn't have these big 3D and planes and stuff like that back then. And the engines were also not super common. This is back in the days before Desert Aircraft and DL and DLE and DLA and all those other companies that have produced engines. This was back in the days of Zenoa, and that was about it. Zenoa gas engines. There was somebody else called, I think it was McCoy engines, and it was not that great of an engine. It was not very powerful, but the Zenoas were okay, and that's pretty much what the standard was. He had one of these Space Walkers with a G62, which was more power than it really needed to have, but it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen, and it was where I kind of learned about gas engines to begin with. So he had this, he would get it out, and he had this pattern with it. He had this relationship with the engine. He would flip it 4 times, and usually on the 4th time, with the choke on, the engine would pop. So then he would release the choke, and he'd flip it 4 more times, and it started reliably every time. And so it was a beautiful plane. From back in those days, I'd always thought, man, that's a cool plane. It has a 3-piece wing on it. It's a great thing. Now, the other thing that's happened since that day with that guy is I've gotten to meet Bruce Tharp, who was the person who designed this one for SIG manufacturing. And I just got a hold of him the other day and told him, hey, I'm trying to track one of these down, and I'm really excited to make one of them because you know, it's one of your kits. And he's a good guy. I really like Bruce Tharp. And so anyways, he's just kind of said, wow, that'd be really cool. He says this was the first plane that he ever designed for SIG. And so I was pretty lucky to find this one. A guy just had it on his shelf, and he decided he had no intention of building it, I guess. So he sent me pictures of it. We worked the deal, and here it is. And so everything is in this box that you need, except for the covering and the engine and, you know, the radio and parts like that. But these kits are pretty complete. And so there's a set of plans in there. The only thing that was missing from it, and I think that I do this a lot too, once I get a new kit, I will take the instructions out and I'll put it like in a bookshelf somewhere. But luckily, the plans were, the instructions weren't in there, but luckily I could get this. This is just the PDF that came off of SIG's website. You could still download all the manuals and stuff like that. And so it's all here. And this one's kind of cool because it's in full color. I'm pretty sure the original was black and white. But anyways, got that coming up. It's going to be great. Other planes that are coming, I'm going to be doing a Hellcat that has a fiberglass fuselage. And it comes from a friend of mine named Vic, who runs vicrc.com. And he's got fuselages, so if you ever wanted to build like, say, a Jerry Bates, which one is it? The Jerry Bates Bearcat. I actually made the plug for that kit, and he sells finished plugs, finished fuselages of fiberglass. So if you ever don't feel like building the fiberglass and, you know, you want to just put like a wing together, then you can order these fiberglasses from him, and then Bob Holman Plans has a set of wooden parts for it. So for instance, I will show you down the road here when I get it back out. The fuselage for the Hellcat is all fiberglass, and then you can order a wing kit that will give you the wing and other wooden parts. It'll have some formers that will go inside the fiberglass, but it's a faster way of getting a plane in the air because you don't have to build the entire fuselage. It is already beautifully done in fiberglass. It has all the panel markings on it, so the detail is there. And it's just a great way to go if you want to get a plane into the air, but you don't want to deal with an ARF. You know, it's still considered a building airplane because you still got a lot of building to do on it. You got to put the whole wing together, you got to get it all assembled correctly, and then you have to put the systems into it as well. So it's a big deal. But anyways, yeah, I've kind of gone nuts. But knowing that I've got 17, and I actually think there's 18 planes, I think I forgot to list one of them, I'll be busy for a while. So we're going to be bringing these planes out, and luckily now with a little more time, hopefully I'll be able to get some of these going and get them done sooner. So I've kind of cleaned up my little mess here, and got the main box here. This is the next project that's going to be coming online. This is, of course, the Mustache Model Works de Havilland Beaver. So we're going to be building that one next. So I thought I'd get it out and start getting familiar with it. Quite honestly, I haven't even spent any time going through this kit. I do know that it was a new kit, and the guy who had it, who bought it, never even did anything with it. It doesn't even look like I could see all the things are still taped into the top of the box. So we'll start going through it and see if it makes any sense. But anyways, as you can see back here, right there, I have put a banner up to remind me how crazy I have gone with my buying of airplanes. Now, hopefully, as time goes on, that number will start creeping down, but we'll see how it goes. It's so hard. I love these things so much. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start reading on this one, and thanks for stopping by today. It's good seeing you again, and yeah, we'll just keep them coming. How about that? Have a good day.